I'm in the middle of recording another video right now. I'm actually just doing another video entirely. But in the middle of doing that video, I've realized I need a rant. I need a rant. Because if I don't do it now in this video, it's going to show up in that one. And it's going to derail the entire thing. So, I've got to do it. I'm sorry. Most people might not agree with me on this. But right now, Diablo 4, I fucking hate it. So I need to explain to you my history with Diablo 4, because my history with Diablo 4 is not necessarily something that most people probably watching this will go through. I've got an entire video actually on this channel, which the video needs a bit of love actually. It's got very few views, the poor thing. Could give it some help. But I'm someone who only really discovered the ARPG genre this year, and I fell in love with it. I did. Diablo 4 was my first love. It popped my cherry. And so Diablo 4 is always going to be like in my heart. Actually, I'm a bit weird. My heart's kind of a bit over here. But here's what happened. So I played Diablo 4 way earlier this year, like kind of spring, just becoming summer, around that time. And I play it for the campaign, mainly, and I love it, and I blow through the campaign in a few weeks. I have a really damn good time with it, and then I get to, like, kind of the end game, and I play that for a bit, and then I stop, and I go, do you know what, right, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go play other games, because I'm not a one-game person. I'm never going to be a one-game guy. So I go and play other stuff, but I say to myself in that moment, I am going to come back to this. I'm going to come back to this because by that point, by the time I finished, the expansion had already been announced. So I said to myself, right, I'm going to come back for the storyline expansion, and I'm going to come back, and this is the kicker. I said I'm going to come back and set myself the goal of actually getting to level 100, because I wanted to do it. My character at that point, I think, by the time I sort of cut off, it was around like 68. But I felt done. I felt like I'd had my fill for that run. So I was like, you know, I'm going to come back when the expansion releases and go to level 100. That can be my goal. So I always intended to come back to D4 at some point. Well, there I am one day, just sat chilling. And what do I see? Oh, Blizzard are changing it. They're getting rid of the level cap being 100. Now it's going to go to 60. Huh? I've already made 60. I've already gone over 60. That's not a goal. That's boring. Look, maybe hardcore players have been pushing for this for months. I don't know. Maybe this is something that they've been begging for. I haven't got a clue. All I know is I didn't like the idea. But I tried to play, I literally kind of forced myself back into Diablo 4 a little bit earlier than I wanted to. And it was like, okay, let's play up to level 100. Let's just do it. So I can say I've done it one time. Didn't do it. Just couldn't do it. I just couldn't get my enthusiasm back for it. Because I knew that I was on this really tight time constraint. And I didn't want to force myself to play more than I wanted to. So I just never did it in the end. But I had this little shining beacon of light, where I said, well, the expansion's coming out, and that will be fun. I'll get to play through the rest of the story that they've got planned, try maybe the new class, whatever. Even though I love the Barbarian is my go-to. I love playing as a Barbarian. We'll get to that. And yeah, that's going to be what pulls me actually back into Diablo 4. So, a couple of days ago, the expansion drops. The new season dropping alongside it. And I decide that I'm gonna do what I always wanted to do anyway, which is because I always like to play campaigns in full. So I was like, right, I'm gonna play Diablo 4 in full. I'm going to start the main campaign again. I've only played it once, and that was a while ago, so, you know, I know the beats of the story, but I'll enjoy the story through again, and then I'll go straight into the expansion story and play through that. It'll be like one big giant experience. It'll be fun. I'll get to level 60, not 100, whatever. And it'll be a gay old time, as they say in Flintstones, and then, you know, I can say I've done my fill of D4, that was great, I loved it, and I'll come back maybe every other season. So I started again. I decided I was going to play as a warrior, because, a barbarian. Okay, it was called a barbarian the warrior, I don't know why. I decided I was going to play as the barbarian, and so I start. And I don't know what they've done. Now, for anybody who's skipping the campaign, going straight into the expansion and the end game, maybe it's brilliant. Although I have reasons to believe it's probably not. But for someone who decided I'm going to restart the game, and bear in mind, the experience I'm having, it's the same experience new players are going to be having when they come in. So this is meant to be now the experience that new players are drawn to when they start. I started playing, and my barbarian was slow, weak, limp, meek, pathetic. My barbarian couldn't even hit a warg in one shot at the start, and I had 9 skill points to give him at the very start of the game. I gave him 9 skill points, and I could not get him to one-shot a warg. That was a first sign of trouble. But the big trouble really comes when I get into the dungeons. Because I figure, okay, before I do the opening tutorial, which you've got to do anyway, and then I go through to the start of the campaign, and I'm like, you know what, before I dive deep into the campaign, my barbarian feels pretty damn bad. So I'm going to level him up a little bit. Oh, this is where the pain really began. So I have to decide, how am I going to level him up? Well, I'll do what I always did. I'll go through dungeons at first. I'll go through early area dungeons, so I'm not like going off into the far reaches of the map and trying to play content that I'm not really meant to be at yet. No, I'm in the starting region, the starting zone. I'm just going to play through some dungeons there, and yeah, we'll just level up a little bit, have some fun. Oh, by the way, that's the other thing I've not mentioned yet. The difficulty levels. They've taken the difficulty levels and they've just gone, yeah, they've just ripped that up. So now we have 8 of them. 8 of the bastards. Why have we got 8 difficulty levels? We've got 8 difficulty levels. So I decide I'm not going to go onto the first one, because I've played through this game already. Like, no, fuck the first one. So I go on to, not the second one, but the third one. I figure, like most difficulty levels in most games, if you see like 8 difficulty levels, the first couple of difficulty levels are just like, for the players who knew, right? So I go into the third difficulty level, I go into a dungeon and I get my fucking ass kicked. I get my ass pounded hard. I get just killed again and again and again. But okay, maybe I was a little overconfident. So I knock it down to the second one. Now, by this point, you've got to remember, on the second difficulty, it reads that you get more XP on the second one over the first one. The first difficulty level, you just get the basic level amount of experience. So I was like, I want to play a minimum on the second one, because I don't want to be spending forever to level up. So I start playing, and I come across some almighty problems, because the game now feels fucking shocking to play. So this is my experience. Play Diablo 4 now. I go into a dungeon. What do I get? Well, I start off, and maybe I'll go into an area with a door. Well, there's way too many enemies for this area now. I don't know what they've done to the amount of enemies on screen, but the amount of enemies on screen is so ridiculous that if I come to a door, I'm literally just one, because my guy's so fucking slow and weak. So, And the enemies can't get to me because they can't all fit through the goddamn door because there's that many of them. So it's just one after the and then eventually I manage to get through the door. And then what happens? Well, now I've got through the door. So now they can all get to me and they just surround me. They surround me and I can't move. My character can't move. I've got that many fucking enemies around me. I can't go anywhere. If by some miracle I manage to move, I move a few steps forward and then I freeze. Why? Because they're fucking flinging this freezing spell at me all the time and they lock my character in place. If I manage to get away from the crowds and the freezing spell, well, don't worry about that because there's fucking concrete blocks that are popping up every 5 seconds, sometimes a couple of them, and so I can't go anywhere. I'm in this little U-shaped concrete block, and so I'm constantly moving, stopping, slow combat, dead. And that is my experience. Oh yeah, and by the way, let's not forget the area of effect spell that keeps popping up on the floor. Oh, how many times did I run into the area of effect spell? I evade away from that into a fucking moment where I get frozen. I get away from being frozen, but now all the enemies have come around me and they've blocked me and I can't move. And I finally get away from that, but oh shit, now there's a concrete wall and I'm stuck in the concrete wall. And oh god, and this is the gameplay. This is now the gameplay for the early part of Diablo 4. I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to go through this. The worst part is it's taking me forever to level up, and I'm assuming that's because they've reduced the level cap by 40. So yeah, I never even considered that, but it's going to take a lot longer because they're now going to stretch that out. I don't want to go through it now. I don't want to do the campaign now. I got my Barbarian exactly where I wanted him at the last time I played, and funnily enough, I still had my Barbarian available for me in the Eternal Realm. So I actually reloaded him up. I was like, am I going crazy? Is it just not right? Like, and I loaded him up. And because he is like level... The way that they've done it now is weird, but he's like level whatever, but he's got so many points as well. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what they've done. But basically, he felt good. He felt good because he was quick, he was powerful, he was strong, he had all of my abilities. Felt great. There is definitely still a point in the game where I can get the Barbarian to where I want the Barbarian to be, but by God is it going to be a horrible slog getting there. And by the way, I'm saying that assuming that's the case. Because remember, this is in the Eternal Realm with eternal items, with the old leveling system that the character's gone through. So I don't know if that's even going to be true for the Barbarian now in this season. It might not be. But the point is, the core fact is, I'm playing through the start of Diablo 4 again, not because I have to, but by choice, because I want to, because I like this game, and it's made me hate it in the space of a few hours, a few days. I don't want to be in a situation where every time, dungeons are taking forever now, because look, there are that many enemies, they take that long to kill. I'm constantly being frozen in place. I'm constantly being blocked by concrete. I'm constantly being surrounded by enemies and not be able to move and just having to... It's just boring. It's boring, it's tedious, it feels bad to play, it's not enjoyable. I don't play these games for slow, methodic gameplay. I play them to maybe start off a little bit weak and slow at first, but be able to get my way up to some really high level, high fast falutin shit. And I'm sure I can maybe get there eventually, but the grind to that now is so that actually the point that I realized that I wasn't enjoying this at all was when I leveled up from level 17 to level 18, and I didn't care because I just realized I'm gonna put 1 point into one of my abilities. It ain't gonna matter. I'm still gonna be just and you know what? I don't even think I want to go play the expansion. Because I'm gonna have to level the character up, right? Maybe I just go play the Spiritborn. Maybe I'll just go play the fucking Spiritborn character. I was gonna save that for later. As extra content. New character type. I was gonna save that for later. Maybe I just play that. I don't know. It's just so damn disappointing. I love Diablo 4. But I never really want to restart and play it all again now. Not the way it is at the minute. I don't.